Don't know if he still have. Yeah, I noticed by your face.
But you can ask him any questions. He will be here.
I'll be around if you want to know more. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Now we are going to have Mehmet Umut Ermeç from tiplay studio. He's going to talk about gaming in the AI age, how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing mobile game development. Yes. Mehmet, yeah, welcome. Good to see you here.
Good to see you as well. Thank you. So I have an hour, right? Just to make sure.
It's 30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay.
Yes.
I'll make it quicker because I'll spare some time for Q&A. Hello everyone, my name is Umut Ermeç. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of tiplay Studio. We are a game studio, started with mobile. We now do everything including PC games and HTML5 games. And I'm a big believer of AI, artificial intelligence. And today I'm going to talk about how we can use AI in game development, publishing, and how we can improve player experience. And let's get started. It's a huge topic. You could talk about this for like weeks and months. But I just want to focus on three main topics. Number one, development. And development, in my terminology, means that the coding, the art, the design, all that aspects. In other words, the production side of things. Publishing is, user acquisition, monetization, and community, and all of that. And player experience is, it's very self-descriptive. It's what player experiences. So let's get started. Why do we need to use AI in gaming? So let's start with why, right? There are topics that you can see and on the screen right now, and I'm very happy to tell you that this is a response from ChatGPT. So I asked ChatGPT, why should I use AI? It didn't give me the whole list like this. As any technology, the first version or the very first versions are a little bit, hard to operate and not very effective, etc. So is ChatGPT. However, if you work on it, if you master how to use it, then it starts to respond and in a very good way. So, for example, I ask, why should I use it in development? Maybe it gave me a few answers. Then I ask again in a different way, and then I tell it, like, okay, tell me 5 more that is not in the list you sent me already. And I did that a number of times. Okay, now 20 more. And then I picked the one. So it's not very smart yet. It's not highly intelligent yet. And yet, it is very smart because it saved me maybe a few hours to prepare this presentation. So I'm going to talk about all of these topics in detail. So I'm just going to skip it for now. And publishing side, again, these are all responses from ChatGPT. And of course, I added a few things here and there. But let's get started. So how we can use, literally, AI in publishing. Marketing campaign automation optimization. What does that mean? It's a fancy word. It sounds sexy. But what does that actually mean? It means that you can run Facebook campaigns, Snapchat, TikTok, all that in a way more smarter way in an automated fashion. And even better, you can do things that are not possible today. Let me give you one idea. I don't remember if I came up with this idea or if a friend of mine told me, to be honest with you, but I'm just going to share you $1 billion idea. Make sure you take notes and you can start your own business. Think about a platform, your company, or think about an AI-based, software that creates marketing creatives to be run on Facebook, TikTok, all that channels. And it is in an automated way being tested on Facebook TikTok, and all those channels. And afterwards, it learns from its mistakes and successes, and then it, improves itself in order to find a low CPI, for example. You can give it a key milestone. Think about a machine that outputs videos without having to be developing all this content, no coding, no art, no design, nothing. It just creates content based on trends, based on, demand. It's crazy. And then it finds a 20-cent CPI as an output. You can sell it. You can make it an auction. Publish. This is a great idea. I'm being excited. If I'm not the CEO of tiplay Studio, I would start this company, to be honest with you, right now. Maybe they already did, by the way. But this is just a snippet of what is possible. So sky is the limit, and I'm going to stop there because every single one of them is a startup idea. I'm not even kidding. And there are not many startups being, in my opinion, humble opinion, being funded in the gaming vertical regarding AI. So number 2, user acquisition optimization. Again, this is a very, very data-oriented area. What kind of users you need to acquire. We are learning it as we go along, but if you implement AI in it, it can even come up with, strategies like, okay, start with TikTok with this demographics and then funnel this to Facebook and then do something else, blah, blah, blah. This is all data-oriented, so it is very suitable for machine learning. Player behavior and analysis. This is also being done, by the way. There are a lot of companies out there like Sensor Tower, Mobile Action, even Game Refinery and Data AI and all that. They all provide some sort of AI-based insight, but you can improve that by having this mindset in the production pipeline as well. In other words, you can implement events in your game in a more detailed way, not just like level start or churn or classic things, but you can use segments of users to see if a certain content in a game improves a certain output, such as in a purchase or buying something. I mean, it's in a purchase, but something else. So this is again a very virgin area, in my opinion. Fraud detection and prevention, very technical thing. I don't want to go in detail, but it is totally possible to do it completely with AI. And it's a big problem, especially for multiplayer games, especially if money is involved. And some, verticals within esports, like, I don't want to say betting, but competitive gaming or social gambling or, all these areas could benefit from it. Dynamic pricing and monetization. I mean, we are already doing it, but I think there's still room for improvement. And maybe there are some companies already doing it. Maybe I don't know about it, and that I wouldn't be surprised because, for example, I once installed poker from Zynga just to understand the user experience very well, and I wanted to study the meta game in depth, right? And I played it again and again, day and night. And I'm gonna confess, I kind of got hooked as well. I'm not gonna lie. I liked it. But I told myself I'm not going to spend a dime because it's going to change the behavior of the game. And I suspected AI was there. And I now think that there's definitely some elements from AI that changes its behavior based on my behavior. Because at some point, the game understood that I was not spending a dime. And it started showing me ads. So I was like, all right, something's happening. And then I realized, and that's kind of freaky, it starts to show ads to me just before I wanted to leave. So it kind of understood that I was about to leave. So this is just, again, a snippet. Let's think about it. I personally don't buy skins, but some people love skins, right? I don't pay like $20 for a hat, but I would love to have extra lives, for example. So I would even spend $25 for it. This is me, Umut. I'm just one guy. Another person would never spend a dime on extra lives because it's, for him or her, it's a betrayal, it's against the rules of the game, whatever. But then, he's a nerd, he's a collector, he wants to have that fancy hat that is $100. So, what if the AI shows me that hat with a discount and what I really want to buy without a discount or even an increased price, and vice versa, because I'm already buying this. What if AI used some tricks to trick me into upselling some of its stuff? So I'm gonna, go a little faster because I have a lot to cover in the development side as well. Predictive analysis for user retention, very self-descriptive. Real-time customer support via chatbots, it's already being done. Automated A/B testing, you don't know that A/B testing is done, but it's being done, kind of thing. That could be amazing. And maybe there are some companies who are doing it. Fraud prevention, real-time language translation, content filtering, and moderation. These are all doable with AI. Now, let's talk about player experience a little bit. Adaptive difficulty and gameplay. This is something game industry has been doing for a long time. And it's even before the AI was this powerful. And it was even before AI was implemented, meaning that algorithms can do this as well without machine learning, without the artificial intelligence mark on it. But now, adaptive difficulty and gameplay is on the next level because you can have. Just remember Facebook's scandal with the elections, like Cambridge Analytica and all that. So what they were doing is they were micro-targeting people and showing ads to specific people to their liking. So if somebody is prone to believe if Trump is a liar or if Mexicans are doing X and Y, so that he's racist and he's gonna click on that. The AI would understand it, and by micro-targeting, it would create content, fake content, based on this little segments. What if we do it in a positive way, not trick people or not to change the results of an election, but make the game better with a better understanding? And you can do that segmentation in demographics, but also you can do, what you can do is you can understand the experience of the specific player and optimize the game for him or her by making some features of the game better for this guy and worse for this guy or harder for this guy. And in other words, let's say if a game has multiple mechanics like puzzle mechanics and some action mechanics and maybe a little bit of an RPG here and there, maybe I love the puzzle part and maybe the game understands that and the game becomes 50% puzzle by time and less, action, so forth, so on. Emotion recognition and response. This is one of the things that actually makes me really, really excited. I met a guy, I forgot his name and his company, I'm sorry, but in PGC London. And he showed me the tool he developed. And it is an NPC that you can put in your game through the engine, Unity or Unreal. And it has 10 outputs. So this is an NPC in your game, a person or a parrot or whatever, and you talk. And it understands the way you talk. It summarizes your tone, your mood, your emotions in 10 different categories like anger, sadness, hype, aggressive, whatever. I'm making this up, but certain moods. And it reacts based on that. It picks up your mood. So if you're being cruel to the NPC, or if you're being unnecessarily aggressive, like really bad-mouthing and all that, it reacts the same way. If you're kind, if you're good, if you're happy, it understands that as well. And these are all variables it outputs. And the game changes based on that. This is very powerful. So you're not only playing a game, you're not only interacting with an NPC, but it changes the fundamentals of the game design, the roots of the game, the experience, based on how you act like real life. Improved NPCs is very related, so I'm not going to dwell on it. Let's talk about personalized content a little bit. It could be as simple as, I'm from Denizli, so I'm a fan of Denizli sport, which is, to say the least. But if I'm playing a game and suddenly there are characters with Denizli sport jerseys, like that's funny, that's interesting to me. So it could be as small, as subtle as that, but I think more and more we're going to see games that are using content you share willingly to optimize the gameplay. When I'm on Google or when I'm doing Instagram, scrolling, it doesn't show me the things I'm not interested in. If I can scroll right now and I can bet on it $100 that half of the videos are going to be cats and dogs because I love cats and dogs, right? The other half is technology, Neil deGrasse Tyson talking, Elon Musk and all that nerd stuff. So why don't we do this for games? Why don't we connect these dots? So you play the game and out of the blue, Neil deGrasse Tyson appears and says something. Or the game, converges with that topic, etc. Immersive storytelling and dynamic narratives, I think we kind of talk about it a little bit. AI-driven tutorials and learning systems, this is very life-saving, don't you think? Like, we spend a lot of time with my team to talk about how to onboard the user. Are there going to be soft tutorials, hard tutorials? They're going to be like smart UI, or we want them to explore for themselves, so without showing much. So there's a lot of decisions to make, and it's always subtle, and there are nuances and all that. I think AI will help a lot. Accessible gaming for people with disabilities. So some people have disabilities, that's a fact. Some people cannot see, some people cannot hear, but there are some minor disabilities as well. There are diseases, there are mental illnesses, ADHD and all that. So the game can optimize itself for a person with dyslexia, for example, to make it more understandable, if that's a word. Okay, so I want to go back to game development. Again, just let me remind you what game development is in my terminology. It is game production with coding, art, design, QA, all of that is, for me, game development. So the biggest chunk, the biggest part of game development is ideation. That's the most important part, in my opinion, because it always, it doesn't always have to start with a great idea. Sometimes you start with a shitty idea, and it becomes great by iterating and brainstorming and all that. But it always ends with a good idea if the game is successful. So it has to have a good idea at the end when you're producing, when you're prototyping it. So you can use AI to ideate, and I'm doing that daily. since the like when they launched ChatGPT 3, I think that was a trigger for me. I told all my team, hello everybody, we are using AI from now on. No excuses, nothing. And we start doing that. I keep bugging them. Hey, are you using AI? Are you using? I'm talking. I bought Midjourney, ChatGPT Pro, all that, and I'm knocking doors and going to artists. Say, hey, are you using Midjourney? And sometimes I see that they're like, AI is the enemy. Oh, they're gonna steal my job. And I keep saying, I know it may sound aggressive, but that's truth. So I keep saying it. AI is not going to steal your job. Someone who can use AI well will. So it's not that the AI itself is going to come here and knock the door and, hey, I'm the game artist right now. Hey, I'm the animator or what. No, it's not going to happen. But some artist who uses AI very well can do that because now AI is in her palette, tool set, right? So how do we generate ideas? It's as simple as asking ChatGPT, give me a good game idea. I know it sounds funny. I know your first instinct, it's not going to work. But it works, guys. I know for a fact. How do I know it? Because I do it on a daily basis. There's ChatGPT is in my bookmarks. There's always a tab open. I always ask questions, and I always am happy that I have asked. Now, you can do simple questions like, give me 10 action mobile game ideas that uses shooting as the core game mechanics without blah, 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 and with this team XYZ. You can do this, and you can ask it to give you as a table. First column is the name, second column is core mechanics, third column is unique value, differentiating factor, fourth column is competitors, and it's going to give you in an instant. It's a week's work if you have an intern, and if you tell the intern to create this list, it's going to take at least a week, right? So it does that, but it's not just that. You can make it analyze certain games and come up with different versions of it. Change the theme, change the game mechanics, change this, change that. And it's 90% bullshit, but there's 10% that actually helps you create a good idea. When you burn a chunk of wood, like a big piece of wood, you don't burn it with a lighter. Anybody who does barbecue knows this, right? You cannot burn it. Why? Because you cannot start the fire. Why? Because you need smaller things to burn so that it's flammable. You can even use like small branches and hay and this and that and paper. So you burn that, and that burns the big chunk. So in terms of ideation, ChatGPT provides that. It's an accelerator for the ideation process. It gives you bits and pieces about good ideas, and it starts to fire. And then you do the job. For now, by the way, maybe in the near future it's going to change. Level, economy, item design, etc. These are already being done with ChatGPT and other platforms of AI. And it's as simple as you can provide a list, for example. You have a runner game, let's say. And there are some variables, like the number of obstacles, distance between obstacles, power of shots, like life of enemies. These are like numbers, right? You can provide that and tell it to optimize. It does that. At least it gives you a starting point, as I said. So this is very, very helpful. Trend and competitor analysis is another thing. I do that quite often. And at this point, let me tell you guys, there is a very unique feature, a trick that I use for ChatGPT. I position ChatGPT as one of my competitors. Let's say my competitor is Apple. It's not, but let's say it is, right? I say to ChatGPT, hey, ChatGPT, you are the CEO of Apple. Tell me X, Y, Z, or tell me the main strategies you do to eliminate X, Y, Z. This is just a start. But let's say there's a game that you're fond of, that you love, and you want to understand the art design. Like, how did they come up with that, right? You can say, hey, ChatGPT, you are the art director of this company who did this game. Now pitch me your style like you're telling it to a 5-year-old guy. And it does that. And if you want a simple answer. If you don't want a simple answer, you can say, tell me with all the details. Be as detailed as possible. And it does understand that prompt. And let me tell you, it was kind of freakish when I did this to a game that I want to understand the art design style of. It told me that the main aspect of the game design was the combination of film noir and comics. And there's no way that I could see that angle. And when I read that, it just blew my mind. Because it was true. I'm like, hell yeah. Because film noir is like contrasts, even in color and characters. And the comics is like supernatural and, hype and all that. And it worked brilliantly. And then I took something from it to improve my game. Concept generation, you can tell it to, you can use Midjourney, for example. Theme and setting exploration, character and plot depth. These are like all deep topics, so I'm not just going to talk in detail about them. The last thing I want to focus on, because I think I don't have much time, is the research. Now, let me tell you this with an example. I came from Denizli, so last night I was at the airport, and then I heard something. It says, oh, the plane is going to be delayed for 1 hour. So now I have 1 hour to kill. What do? I spent some time on websites. I did some similar website comparisons because I was investigating something. And then I wondered if ChatGPT could do this. So I asked ChatGPT, list all the HTML5 games that are very successful, that have like above this monthly active users, right? So it did that. So I have the list of games. I said 10 more, it gives me 10 more. All right, I have that. I copied and pasted those games. I put it in another prompt, and I said, give me a list of the publishers who publish these games with information including headquarter location, name of CEO, current partners, monthly active users, daily active users, all that. It didn't give me the whole thing, but it gave what it could, and I learned a lot of things in that 1 hour that I was killing. So it literally trained me regarding what I'm about to do. So it's my coach. So you can use similar techniques for research. You can create comparative tables compared to games. Like, this is amazing, don't you think? Like, compare Dream Blast with a Royal Match. What are the differences? What are the nuances? What are the things that they do the same way? Stuff like that. Positioning, I already told you, like, you are the CEO, you are the this, you are the that. Another cool thing is generating questions. You can say things like, ask me smart questions about the usage of AI in gaming. And it's going to ask you really interesting questions. So, you can also do summary. You can even paste a link of, let's say, a Paul Graham article, and you can ask it to summarize it for you or simplify it for you. Tell this in a way so that a 5-year-old child can understand, kind of thing, translation, and more. Now, I want to give you at least a few minutes to ask any questions you have. Thank you for listening. I hope this was enlightening for you. It was amazing for me. I'm real glad that you're here. Any questions, guys? Yes, please.
Thank you for your presentation.
Cheers.
Do you use generic ChatGPT or specific?
Yeah, you can use the microphone, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Do you use generic ChatGPT or specific for your site?
There's one version that is different than the free version that is Pro, and we use that. And we use the API as well for a game we are developing.
So you didn't provide specific context for...
No. So for all this stuff, ideation, etc., it's the GPT-4 everybody uses. Nothing different. And it's making crazy improvements in our process. And it's way different than GPT-3 and even GPT 3.5. You can feel the difference. It's like logarithmic. Like if GPT-3 is like 100, this is like 10,000. I would say.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And second question, what do you think about Bing from Microsoft?
I never used it, to be honest with you. I didn't have time to check it out. There are like mixed opinions about it. So I had something working on for me right now, and it was the first mover, so they're taking the advantage of it. But there are mixed opinions about it, but I will definitely give it a shot. I just got an email from Layer.ai today. They are testing their beta version. It's a company that generates 3D assets using AI in an accelerated production line. And it was founded by Mehmet Umut, one of the founders of Gram Games in England. So tools like that, not like specific tools for game development, are starting to emerge, which is very, very cool. Thank you. Thank you very much for everything, guys. I hope you enjoyed the event. Cheers.